I'm sure you guys know Senator Lindsey Graham, who is, of course, a very charming individual. He was on Fox News talking about the situation in Ukraine. Let me play to you what he said, and then we'll discuss.
How does this end? Somebody in Russia has to step up to the plate. Is there Brutus in Russia? Is there a more successful Colonel Stauffenberg in the Russian military? The only way this ends, my friend, is for somebody in Russia to take this guy out. You would be doing your country a great service and the world a great service. How does this end?
Wow. Wow. So you have a sitting U.S. senator calling for someone to assassinate the Russian president. I mean, even in the Cold War, you never heard these things. Even in the Cold War. What, has he gone mad? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that that's a violation of international law. Here's what he did. This guy, he didn't just say it on television. He went home and then posted it again, word for word, from Twitter. Is there a Brutus in Russia? Is there a more successful Colonel Stauffenberg in the Russian military? The only way this ends is for somebody in Russia to take this guy out. You would be doing your country and the world a great service. Christ, he doesn't hold back, does he? So for those of you who don't know, Brutus is famously the one who killed Julius Caesar and who betrayed him. And Colonel Stauffenberg was in the Wehrmacht, in the military in Nazi Germany, and he placed a briefcase under a table where Hitler was meeting with his general staff, and it exploded, and it killed several people in the room, but Hitler, not a scratch. And then, of course, he was hanged. No, I don't know if he was shot or hanged. Usually when you're shot, it's a soldier's death. But yeah, I think he was shot. When they want to degrade you, they just hang you. And his family as well, I believe, and a bunch of other people, they did a whole purge after that. So anyway, Graham's point is there another so-called, someone who's is highly placed close to the leaders, such as Brutus was to Caesar or Stauffenberg to Hitler, who can do the same thing, who can just assassinate Vladimir Putin? I don't know what to tell you, man. Can you imagine if someone in Russia said that about the U.S. president? Is there someone in the White House or maybe the National Security Council, another Brutus who can just take out Joe Biden? They would lose it. They would lose it. They'd go to the UN and start a whole, let's do a whole resolution to condemn Russia, and we'll put sanctions on you and sanction your grandchildren. We'll sanction your dog, just like unbelievable. Hillary Clinton, right? She's saying, someone should basically kill him. That's what she's implying. This is the same woman, of course, who she was like jumping for joy when Gaddafi was killed. It's just disgusting. She says, we came, we saw, he died. It was kind of, I don't think she knew that the camera was on. It was like a hot mic moment, but it was filmed. And these, this is who these people are. Hillary Clinton, Lindsey Graham, one's a Republican, one's a Democrat, but fundamentally, they're very much united. They're very much the same when it comes to foreign policy. They're neocons. They're neoconservatives, right? That's why you see, for example, the Democratic Party now embracing people like, Bill Kristol and Dick Cheney, like these people who started the war on terror, because they agree with them. They love them, Honestly, I kind of appreciate them saying it out loud, because it really just, mask off. Again, thank you for showing us who you are. Not completely, but in part, we know what you're saying, and we know you think it deep down. And I think many people think it, but it's funny because if you read the comments under this thing from Lindsey Graham, when he's saying, someone should take out Putin, many people are saying, well, it's okay to think it, but you shouldn't say it. Hold on a second. What? Hold on. Okay, I get it. You don't like the Russian president, but when you're saying it's okay to think it, what are you trying to accomplish exactly by killing Putin? You're trying to go for regime change? I thought this was about Ukraine. And now you're talking about killing the Russian leader? Hold on a second. Are you saying the quiet part out loud? Is this about more than just Ukraine? I wanted to tell you also, when it comes to Syria, they also kind of say the same things out loud. Like someone should not just do regime change there, but just kill Bashar al-Assad. They imply it, certainly. And how many times it said like Assad has got to go, right? Well, I don't know what that means with you guys because he's got to go in what way? Like the Hillary way? Because that's what it sounds like. I don't think they just mean politically speaking. Look what they did to Gaddafi. Like they lynched him, they sexually assaulted him with a bayonet. I mean, just unbelievably grotesque, and horrible. Like that is how the West treats African leaders, Arab leaders. That's what they do to them. And you want to come here and say, well, Gaddafi did bad things. They all do fucking bad things. If he did bad things, who the hell is Hillary Clinton then to say, oh, we came, we saw, he died? So if that's what you do to Gaddafi, what would you do to her? Are you saying that she should also be, that stuff should happen to her? Like, listen to yourself. You talk about like democracy, but where's the due process? How can you say we want to bring democracy to Libya or Russia for that matter, whatever they're saying, and you don't want due process? Which one is it? Even the fucking Nazis, the Nazi scum. Again, I'm not comparing Gaddafi to them, but they say these things. Even the Nazi scum got a trial at Nuremberg and got to make a case. Did you give that opportunity to Gaddafi? You treated him worse than a Nazi after all he did for Africa, or after all he did for the Arabs? How dare you? Vile bastards. They're really vile.
Ultimately, the people closest to Putin, those who have to deal with him, those who he's keeping at the end of 40-foot tables while he issues bizarre orders, they're the ones who need to act. They need to act for the good of Russia. They need to stop him. Whether or not this has turned into some kind of physical or mental problems that he either had or has in some way come down with, we don't know. But his behavior is dangerous, and it's dangerous to the future of Russia. So my hope is that the people who are watching him, those who get close enough to see in person his behavior, which is so erratic, that they can try to prevent him from doing things that will not only be tragic for Ukraine, but tragic for Russia, too. This should be stopped for Russia's sake.
It's not a threat. You never know when it's coming from Hillary. It's like, Russia's sake, what does that mean? You're going to like nuke the place? I'm laughing, I'm joking, but honestly with her, you just don't know what that means. Because if you look at the state of Libya, it looks like it's been nuked. And she's responsible for that. So, that's no joke. No joke. That country's in ruins. 10 years later, in ruins. Again, she's like, he needs to be stopped. What does that mean? How?
Good of Russia. They need to stop him.
They need to stop him. Like, she's saying 1 second they need to stop him, then he's mentally ill. Like, she's suggesting that he is mentally. Like, what do you mean? People should put him in a straitjacket and cart him off to the asylum? Like, what does that mean? I don't like that coming from U.S. politicians. That could mean anything. They hanged Saddam. They sodomized Gaddafi. What does that mean? And I think it's important to look at, because it really gives you the impression they're suggesting more than just Ukraine. It's more like a regime change thing, but they never dare. I really think they wouldn't dare with Russia. Russia has the big guns. Again, they even now in the Middle East, they've learned their lesson not to fuck with Iran, not to fuck with Syria, because they thought, we can just push these countries over. Oh no, you got a taste of your own medicine. Well, not really, but they got a slap in the face, and it didn't work. So again, I'm not surprised with Lindsey Graham. This guy is really a class act, isn't he? Pure scumbag. I remember I showed you this video where he was giving a meeting, and Pompeo, so Trump's Secretary of State, is sitting across Lindsey Graham, and Lindsey Graham is basically asking him, like, what's happening with the oil in Syria? Because you remember Trump, he said, we're in Syria, we're keeping the oil. And he meant that.
The Caesars Act, I thank you for using it quickly and in a holding Assad's son accountable is a great first step in what I think will be a long journey to punish this regime. Is more coming?
Yes, Senator.
Thank you. Great job. I talked to General.
Yeah, the problem is, you fucking smartass, is that you're not punishing Assad's regime. You're punishing my cousins, for example, who can't get fuel and bread. You fuck. And then also all the other Syrians who are suffering from sanctions, who have no electricity now. You fuck. So, go screw yourself. And I love how he's like, they're sanctioning Assad's son. I think he's like barely 18 or something. Like, what the hell does that even accomplish? How ridiculous. And he's like, is more coming? because Caesar Act, these are the sanctions, right, that they've put on Syria in June 2020. And Biden has kept them. Of course Biden kept them. What did you think? Come on, guys, you know better than that.
Mazloon yesterday with the SDF. Apparently, they've signed a deal with an American oil company to modernize the oil fields in northeastern Syria. Are you supportive of that?
We are.
That'd be a great way to help everybody in northeastern Syria.
The deal took a little longer, Senator, than we had hoped, and we're in implementation. It could be very powerful.
Modernize the oil field in Syria. One thing I respect the Americans with is their creativity, right, in the language. Modernize the oil fields. Hey, can you just give me your house and, like all of your savings? I'm just going to modernize the house, just give them to me. It's okay. Just get out and give me the house. I'm going to modernize it. What a nice way to say we're stealing the oil, right? And it's not just, I think Lindsey Graham is saying that. No, we've literally seen the trucks taking the oil from Syria to the Al Walid border crossing with Iraq, and that's how they ferry supplies back and forth and oil back and forth, and we've seen them in the oil fields. So again, I'm just giving you context as to who Lindsey Graham is, because he's no different from Hillary. They're no different Democrats and Republicans. They're just really this kind of like this same brand of scum when it comes to international relations, and I really don't think they're joking when they say someone needs to stop Putin or he needs to be taken out. I mean, Graham just like said it straight up, right? And just another thing that I'm going to point to is the hypocrisy, because he didn't just say it on Fox News. He went home and tweeted it, right? Like, here's the tweet where he's calling for the president of a sovereign nation of Russia to be assassinated. You're not allowed to incite violence. Never mind, not just violence, but never mind calling for someone to be killed, murdered, assassinated, encouraging an assassination on Twitter. I'm 100% sure that's against the terms of service. Not just Twitter, like in real life, you cannot say someone should be murdered, in the US, I don't, depending on the lawyer, you might get charged for conspiracy. Who knows, right? But in any case, do you see how they keep the tweet up? They just keep it up. He's calling for someone to be murdered, the head of a sovereign state. And they keep it up. And it's just like with Trump. Do you remember Trump? Well, he's banned now, which is the irony, right? But when he was threatening violence, they didn't ban him. And same here. I'm not saying they should be banned. I mean, I don't exactly like Lindsey Graham or Trump, but I'm trying to show you the random way in which they apply their own rules. And so here they just keep this up. But if you said that, like if you went on Twitter and said like politician XYZ should be taken out, you'd probably get banned, right? And the FBI would pay you a visit. Literally, the cops would come visit you. When Trump was on Twitter, he was saying that Syria should be bombed. And he was saying that after he murdered General Soleimani, who was like, the equivalent of Iran's Secretary of Defense, but even bigger than that. After Trump murdered him, he posted on Twitter that if Iran, he's like talking to Iran, he's threatening Iran on Twitter. And he was saying that if you get revenge or try to respond to my assassination of Soleimani, we're going to come bomb your cultural sites. It literally said that. Look, take a look. Iran is talking very boldly about targeting certain USA assets as revenge for our ridding the world of their terrorist leader. Yeah, whatever. And then down here it says, Iran and the Iranian culture and those targets and Iran itself will be hit very fast and very hard. I mean, that is a straight up war crime. It's already a crime of aggression to bomb another country. Iran would have been full within its rights, to hit the U.S., and it did. It hit the Ain al-Assad base because it's self-defense. You just assassinated a top official. You attacked a sovereign country. It's an act of war. Iran is well within its rights to strike any U.S. target under the UN Charter, under international law. You could never blame Iran for that. Here, Trump is not only saying that we will hit you again, but we're going to hit your cultural sites. Iran has 26 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And keep in mind, you have tons of places in every country that are not necessarily UNESCO World Heritage Sites, but are still, extraordinarily valuable historically, culturally. And of course, Iran has much, 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 much more than just 26. But just to give you an idea, that's more than most countries. That's a lot. These are World Heritage Sites. As a Syrian, I'm jealous. Syria has a lot as well, but Iran even more. And Trump is just like saying he's going to bomb that. That's a straight up war crime. It's a crime against humanity, honestly. I view it that way. When these terrorist scumbags in Syria, foreign-backed, foreign-funded terrorists, they came and blew up the arch of Palmyra, of the ancient city of Palmyra. I mean, that's not just a crime against Syria. Yes, it's just a bunch of rocks. It's not just a bunch of rocks. It's human heritage. It's not just Syrian heritage. It's all of humanity, right? These are places that have so much cultural value. I view it that way. I'm not speaking in the legal term of a crime against humanity, like, when there's in the International Criminal Court. But I view it, ethically speaking, figuratively. I really think it is, and I think it's most certainly a war crime, because you're not allowed to target monuments, civilian infrastructure, cultural sites. Certainly a war crime at the very least. And this clown is on Twitter threatening that. And they kept it up, of course, This is January 2020. And they only banned him until a year later, I think, right? It's disgusting, like how they just openly threaten violence. I really think it's disgusting. It's totally fine for you to threaten another country, Syria, Iran, Russia, to threaten the presidents on Twitter. They're fine with that. But, you do something minuscule, and the FBI is going to pay you a visit, or you just get banned. Unbelievable.